journey to a better Ghana begins with the appropriate steps towards development. And every development process to be sustainable must have a blueprint to guide it. And for the national development effort, the body of policies and programs that the government puts in place constitute the appropriate blueprints. So I believe the organizers do not want you to believe that truly we are on the first steps towards achieving a better Ghana, but they want you to see it as happening. And the way to set you off is to introduce you to the policies and programs of the government, which are the ingredients for convincing any individual that indeed the movement towards the better Ghana has started.
Today marks a turning point in the information delivery system of government programs, policies, and activities. It is the pleasure of the Minister of Information to welcome His Excellency the Vice President and all of you seated here to the first ever National Policy Fair organized by the Minister of Information to offer a platform to the ministries, departments, and agencies, municipal, metropolitan, and district assemblies to reach out to the public with their services and products. There are plans to replicate this fair in the regions and districts to bring government closer to the people. It is the expectation of the Minister of Information that the fair will help the Minister of Information to collate information on government policies, projects, and programs, and the deepening of public consultation. In this way, we think it is appropriate and that we'll get the proper feedback from the public to government programs, and that the opportunity will afford us the ability to formulate acceptable agenda for the public.
We're gathered here at the first ever Ghana Policy Fair. As you will recall, during the 2008 election, Professor John Atta Mills promised transparent and accountable government. There's no doubt that this policy fair will help in a very great measure to showcase government's programs and activities. This concept of opening up our ministries, departments, and agencies to the public with a view to enabling the citizens engage with the leadership of these institutions and get to know what they are doing to develop our dear country is a very laudable one. By doing this, we are helping to demystify the art of government by narrowing the interface between the public sector institutions, the private sector, and civil society organizations, with the ordinary citizen being able to make government more accountable, interactive, and relevant. This initiative is underscored by the conviction that the enterprise of nation building is the collective effort of the entire population. To this end, government intends to use this policy fair to further open up governance and get the ordinary Ghanaian to be a part of the development process of our dear nation. Every policy must have at its heart an improvement in the living conditions and welfare of the people. We must also ensure that at all material moments, the national interest is paramount in the policies we formulate and implement. The public interest will therefore continue to be the driving principle behind any policy this government initiates for implementation. I'm therefore very delighted that this policy fair will be offering Ghanaians a special opportunity to be involved in the governance process as well as in the evaluation of policies and programs that are being rolled out by the various government departments and state-owned corporations, companies, commissions, and authorities in order to determine their relevance and effectiveness in addressing the problems and critical needs of us all. In this regard, the Ghana Policy Fair is a significant commitment to citizens' engagement as we deepen transparency and accountability in governance. This fair will be extended to all the regions and is also expected to be an annual affair. Management of the MDAs and other government commissions would be available at the fair to answer questions and take feedback from the public on various matters of policy. I wish to say that all persons who have ideas and other opinions about government policy must take advantage of this fair. Government also expects that this fair will contribute in no small measure to bring the entire Ghanaian public aboard government's Better Ghana agenda. It will also provide a platform for the various ministries, departments, and agencies to account for their stewardship, as Ghanaians long for information on government activities. And we expect that it will also drive investment and public-private partnership in the implementation of some of these policy programs that will be exhibited here. Also of interest to me are the dialogue sessions that are going to accompany this fair, and the very seasoned speakers who have agreed to share their thoughts and insights on important topics such as, one, bridging the gap between the public and private sector in policy formulation and implementation cycle, a critical appraisal of the Ghanaian situation. Two, the importance of a policy fair and how it can expedite development. And three, an incursion into what kind of policies Ghana needs at this stage of our development. And this would have a deliberate slant towards our oil and gas strategy and efforts at attaining food security. The Mills Administration quest to build a better Ghana is a collective one, and we are happy to engage in this process with you all. It is my hope that the business community will take full advantage of what will be on exhibit at this fair, so that we can see more public-private partnerships and collaborations as we expedite the development of our nation. As a government, some of these policies we have introduced which are worthy of note, and for which I hope to see the strategy for elimination of the 3,947 schools that are still conducted under trees. Two, the effectiveness of the preschool uniform program to pupils in deprived communities and the effect of the decision to procure and manufacture them locally. Three, the free exercise books to pupils in deprived communities, for which over 42 million exercise books have already been distributed. Four, the special scholarship scheme for students in maths and science education. And five, the local content policy in the oil and gas sector. Six, the policy decision to hedge petroleum pricing. And seven, the youth in agriculture program, amongst others. We'll also see things on the national electrification and self-help electrification programs. These are key policies that have been announced by government, and there are many people who do not understand how these policies are being implemented and what effect they will have. This is the opportunity to educate ourselves on these policies, but also contribute our opinions on these policies. And so feedback is going to be a very important component of this policy fair we're holding. The importance of this fair is in the viewing. I therefore, on this note, wish, on behalf of the President, to declare the first ever Ghana Policy Fair officially opened.